Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. About 3 weeks ago, I discovered a problem with the 4-8N. It kept dying on me. Well, I managed to get the tractor inside the tractor shed, but there's a problem. The carb has picked up some dirt. It's been about 5 years since I taken the carburetor off last time, so I got to pull it down and take it apart. There's a little vent just on the back side of this that vents air into the float bowl. It'll get some kind of debris in it. Last time it was a grass seed. Then it'll let the float bowl fill, but only slowly. And the engine pulls the gas out faster than it fills, so it'll run 15-20 seconds and then choke out. I really intended to show you me taking the carburetor off the tractor. Had the camera running, had it focused, had it aimed in the right direction, but it just didn't record anything that I could get out of it. The file was there, but it just kept saying corrupted. So, we move on. Well, the problem is the float bowl is not filling. Not filling as fast as I want it to. So what I'm going to be doing is taking off this cover. First, loosen all the screws. Probably going to get some gas dripping out of here, although it's been sitting 4 days. Should have dried out by now. Yeah, got a little dripping out of it. Not bad. There's a little needle and seat up inside there. That controls how well the float bowl fills. This is the idle jet down there, and that's the main jet. Pull that pin out of there. That's the hinge pin for the float. Disconnect the float. Everything looks all right on that. Nothing's damaged. Float's dry. It all looks good. Okay, I'm gonna have to take this block out. Now I can unscrew this jet. And that will remove this. And now I'm starting to see the mud and junk down in there. The seat looks to be okay. That's the diaphragm. That does the accelerator pump. That all appears to be fine. So I take my little can of carb and choke cleaner, spray out the inside of that. And do the same here. Loose pieces secured. This is the kind of stuff that makes the carburetor not work.
I used to use a bucket of gunk carburetor cleaner, and it had a little basket that you put the carb in it, and then you dipped it down into this 1 gallon can. But that's long gone. I probably need to get another one, but I don't clean carburetors that often anymore. Used to be doing a lot of engines and small engines and carburetors on tractors, but I don't do it so much. Still, it'd be a nice thing to have. Maybe an ultrasonic cleaner. They have those at Harbor Freight. I'll have to look into that.
That was the sheriff's department. They seem to come through here quite a bit.
Definitely need a carb cleaner. I didn't realize it took 10 minutes to clean off the outside of the carb and get the inside cleaned up in a reasonable fashion. I think the gunk would be a really good idea. And I'm definitely looking at the ultrasonic cleaner. Well, I got the trash cleaned out of the inside of the carb. It's time to put it back together again.
There we go. It appears to be moving just fine. Start all these screws. Set that little Phillips head screw in there. One, 2, 3, 4. Now I set this little gasket on there. Let's do it this way. Set it on there first. Put a screw in it so it acts as a pilot. Holds the gasket in place. I set that on there so that the screw lines up with the hole. Before I tighten it down, put the other screw in there. And start the last screw. And this screw is wanting to have the cover right up rather than start in the hole. So there we go. Gasket's all lined up. Everything looks good. Things are tightening down like they're supposed to. Take them all down till they just feel a little resistance. Then run the others down till they're all down the same. I'm learning. We're going to stop the camera every once in a while and make sure that it's recorded before I go on, because I lost all the footage that I took of taking the carburetor off. Now, it's not really important, but it was annoying. I like to have all the things I'm doing visible so that you guys can see them happen. Kind of a pain in the neck. I have to have this on there this down through the hole. Then set that on there, and using the screwdriver down through that hole, I start that thread. Really need to have gravity on your side when you're doing that little bit of assembly. That's long enough to do it. Now, air is pretty easy to get into something. I mean, it's harder to keep it from leaking out or leaking in. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around that boss there and cover those 3 holes. One on this side, one in the back, and one there. Cover those 3 holes, like so. I'm going to take this piece of wire and use it like a needle and thread it through. Well, I think I'm going to. I want to stick it into my finger. There we go. Popped it through. And put it into that. There we go. Now I'll take these needle nose pliers. I should be able to drive it on through that other piece of felt. Can I do that without stabbing myself in the finger? That's the next question. Well, it went through. Why am I wearing rubber gloves? People are going to say, well, you didn't have them on before. Yeah, I didn't have them on before, and then I noticed that my fingers were burning. Another reason for the needle nose pliers, with rubber gloves on, I'm not as dexterous. Dexterous. I guess it's dexterous. I don't have the manual dexterity that I do without the gloves. Let's say it that way. Well, that should hold it. Okay. Okay, got that through. Now we put the pin in. Okay, we have our little breather valve, or we have our little breather port filter in place. A clever chap would have just made a new gasket. But I am a risk taker. What are the odds that I will glue down the float bowl? Pretty good, I would imagine. There. Now the ends have longer bolts than the sides. And the reason for that is there's more body on this side to hook onto. And somebody in the past, not me, but somebody in the past, put a nut on this side. And they tapped out the other holes to this larger thread size. So these aren't the original screws that come with a Holley carburetor. These are the cobble jockey parts that somebody put on here to hold this thing together. They work. Not the best method in the world, but they work. And I have to be very careful, because these two inwards I can tighten right up, but these two, there's not much thread there. And somebody in the past has actually tightened that up enough that they warped these seals, which is why I have a thick cork gasket in there. Okay, the carburetor is back together again. Looks like a reasonable job. Now I just have to take this carburetor and put it back on the tractor.
If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I rate them all. Thanks for watching. And there's a lot more to this